Welcome back to Silent Hill 4 The Womb. And we've just been discussing what Henry might be eating or drinking, but we know that there's nothing in here. We've been talking about how he probably just... we saw that there's a bottle of wine, there was a thing of chocolate milk. That was all that was in there. But we're wondering, where is the bottle of syrup? They probably chugged it straight down to go with his cookie dough. Look, you run out of food in the fridge, you're going to get desperate. And clearly, his adventures require a whole lot of energy, so he needs to keep himself on edge tonight. What do we have with us? We have a golf club, an axe, a nightstick. That's all we need. Let us head into the hole. There's also been a discussion of the symbolism of the holes in the room, if the room is indeed Walter's mother. And the sexual metaphors within. Eileen, did you know my apartment is a metaphor for Walter's mother? What do you think me constantly going in and out of the holes means? Something to think about. There's like a little, like a baby in there, vibrating, as they will do. And finally, we reach the floor. What do we find down here? Well, we find an empty space. And a door. The door says 302. That's our apartment. And there is a note right here at the bottom. There's a diary on the ground. I had that weird dream today. The one with the man with the long hair and the coat. He was crying and looking for his mother again. I saw that man with the coat 10 years ago at this apartment. He was going up the stairs, carrying a heavy tool, an old-looking bowl, and a bag that was dripping blood. I never saw him again after that. But a few days later, the neighbors complained that they heard strange noises coming from the supposedly empty room 302. So I took a look around room 302 and found signs that someone had been in there, but nothing odd other than that. But that's when it all started. I can still hear strange noises coming from the window of room 302. Sunderland. So Frank saw Walter 10 years ago go into room 302. Or at least saw him go up the stairs. Never saw him after that, though. Alright, so this is our apartment. Eileen, you have not been able to go into our apartment because you never see the hole. But you can see this door, right? So what happens if we go into this door? Well. Let me show you around. Here's the fridge where I found a dead cat. There was one time when my faucet was running blood. Oh, here's the peephole into your room. Do you want to look? Maybe later. Here's a record player, but Eileen, I usually have a TV here. My radio's not here either. There are many spirit candles, though. All over the place. There's an old picture book and a red book here. There once was a baby and a mother who were connected by a magical cord. But one day the cord was cut and the mother went to sleep. The baby was left all alone. But the baby made lots of friends at Wish House and everyone was very nice to him. The baby was happy. His friends told him how to wake up his mother, so the baby went right away to go and wake her up. But the mother wouldn't wake up, no matter how he tried. She wouldn't wake up. Because the one that he was trying to wake up was actually the devil. The baby had been deceived. Poor baby. The baby cried and cried and cried. When he thought of his mother, he remembered the feeling of being connected to her through the magical cord. Just then, a ray of light came down from the sky. The light was very warm and made the baby feel good. When the baby looked into his hand, he saw that the magical cord was lying there. With the cord clutched in his hand, the baby went happily to sleep. So that's the rest of the story that we read at the very beginning of the game. And something else here, Crimson Tome. She who is called the Holy Mother be not holy one whit. The descent of the Holy Mother is naught but the descent of the devil. Those that be called the 21 Sacraments be not sacramental one whit. The 21 Sacraments be naught but the 21 heresies. To give birth to a realm of wickedness within the blessed realm of our Lord is blasphemy and the work of the devil. If thou wouldst stop the descent of the devil, you must bury part of the conjurer's mother's flesh within the conjurer's true body. Thou must also pierce the conjurer's flesh with the 8 spears of void, darkness, gloom, despair, temptation, source, watchfulness, and chaos. Do so, and the conjurer's unholy flesh will become that which it once was, by the grace of our Lord. So, interesting. We've heard about the god of the cult. Silent Hill 1 and 3 were all about the god, but apparently this religion also has a devil, which I guess Walter is into. Oh, and Eileen, here's my blood stain. There's apparently blood looking from the ceiling. I can't look up there, but there's blood. There it is. Can't get in here. This wall is also damaged. This wasn't damaged in our apartment. The gate to hell. Why must I destroy this wall? And in here, here's my hole. Eileen, you said you never saw a hole. Well, here it is. And now I'm proving to you, this is the hole in my bathroom that I kept going in and out of. Also, now that we're seeing the bathroom from an overhead perspective, look how tiny this bathtub is. You couldn't fit one person in this bathtub. Henry would have to be curled up in the fetal position to fit into this bathtub. You could not stretch out. No wonder Henry never takes a bath. Eileen, Eileen, there you go. And this is where the magic happens. It's a piece of red paper. What's with this room? It's covered in blood and rust. This is my room, but what the hell has happened to it? This room, is it really my room? It's in terrible shape. The air is so heavy. My head hurts. Creepy. It looks like a face. What the hell am I writing? August 2, Joseph. You might remember that these are the reactions that our character had in the first-person segment at the very beginning of the game, right before we were killed by a ghost. Those were the lines that we had when we looked at things. Typed out on paper for some reason. It's a piece of red paper. I can't break down the wall. August 3, Joseph. Joseph trying to break down a wall for reasons. Piece of red paper. When the bell rings, Eileen equals mother's body, blood. August 4, Joseph. Thanks for that explanation, Joseph. It's a piece of red paper. The Crimson Tome. Bury part of the conjurer's mother's flesh within the true body of the conjurer. Part of the flesh equals Super's room? August 5th, Joseph. And here is a pink typewriter. We can't interact with it. I guess the idea is that this is probably the typewriter that typed out all of the notes from Joseph that we have been seeing. I would assume. Nothing over here. But we can see that Joe had huge amounts of these spirit candles and just set them up everywhere to protect himself. But what else can we find in here?
It's him.
You've done well to make it this far. Let me tell you something about him, Walter Sullivan. When he was a little boy, he began to believe that my apartment was actually his birth mother. He decided to free her from the stains and corruption of this world. At the orphanage, he learned of the 21 sacraments, the only way to purify her. He then performed the ceremony of the Holy Assumption and created this twisted world. Now, he's become nothing more than an inhuman killing machine. Well, he's dead now, but he's still trying to complete the 21 sacraments. His boyhood desire to return to the bosom of his birth has divided him. Now his child self has manifested itself in this world. And soon, he's planning to finish his work, the 21 sacraments. Number 20, the Mother Reborn, Eileen Galvin. Number 21, the Receiver of Wisdom, Henry Townsend. Even now, it may not be too late. Follow the crimson tome. Stop him. If not, wherever you run, he will catch you. Find him. His true location. It must be nearby. You must kill him. You must kill him. Kill. 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 Hurry. She's being taken over. She's number 20. The mother was born. The crimson tome. Obey the crimson tome. Kill him. Must kill him. Kill. Kill. Kill.
All right. Did you enjoy that exposition? Well, we finally met Joseph Schreiber. That was him. This bloodstain was the scene of his death. It's basically confirming that at the beginning of the game, when we had a room segment and we were walking around the room for the first time, we were not playing as Henry, we were playing as Joseph, and that's when he was killed. So he's dead now, and he's been trying to help out Henry. Oh, I didn't know he did that. I don't know Henry, like, made a golf pose if you didn't do anything, he was holding that. That's actually, like, a little bit of personality from Henry. That's very good. But, okay, Joseph. He's been helping us out. He's telling us now that Eileen is being taken over. That is true. Eileen is being possessed by Walter. The thing is, the more damage she has been taking, the faster she can be possessed. So she hasn't been taking that much damage. If she did, we would be seeing a much more possessed Eileen, and we'll probably take a look at that in our second playthrough. Yep. Practice swing. There you go. 250 yards. So we have to... So Eileen is being possessed. That's something that we need to keep in mind. All right. What does he want us to do? He wants us to kill. You remember what he was saying. But now if we go over here, we have this. This wasn't here before. There's a pickaxe stuck in the wall. I will take it. It's the pickaxe of hope. Why is it called that? Hope is written on the handle. That's why it's called that. Doesn't look like I can use it as a weapon. So, unlike the pickaxe of despair, this pickaxe cannot be used as a weapon. Do we break the wall? I can't use this here. Well, if not this wall, then what wall? And if we go into this hole, where will it take us? We're already in our apartment. I'm sorry, it has nothing to do with this game, but while we were doing that, I just got an alert on my phone because I need to turn email alerts off because I get all kinds of emails alerted that I don't need to know about. This one was very important. I got an email from the WWE because I used to be a subscriber to the network, and the only thing I saw was the subject line which said, Roman Reigns is the suplexorcist, and oh my god. It's very good. I don't want it to be good because I don't really like the WWE, but it's very good. It's also relevant to this game, as we do need to exorcise evil spirits. Any hauntings? Well, there was a sound. No notes. But that sound is kind of important to figure out where that came from. It's also kind of easy not to notice it. There's been a box up there the whole game. The cardboard box is torn, and the contents are spilled all over. Yeah, this box got torn, and now there's stuff on the floor, including this note. It's a piece of paper. He used this place as the locus for the creation of this world, of his world. I'm certain he must have performed the ritual of the Holy Assumption near here, but I'm just not strong enough to stop him anymore. He locked me up in this room and played with me just like a toy. My eyes are starting to go blind. The pain. I can feel my body starting to die, but things are taken care of. Whoever lives here after me, you'll be the 21st, the last of the sacrifices. I leave it up to you. When the bell tolls, the ritual begins. Eileen equals mother's body, blood. Part of the mother's flesh equals the super's room. That's all I've been able to figure out. I hope this letter gets to you in time. Joseph Schreiber. And that's Joseph's final note to us. It's also important because it's a clue about how to beat the last boss, which is something of a puzzle. Not that complex of a puzzle, but there is a kind of a puzzle to it. Let's just make sure there's nothing going on in here. Nah, nothing going on. All right. We have our pickaxe, and we found it in the equivalent of this room, of this wall right here. So what if we used it on this wall in our room? There's a hole. Another hole. This doesn't go to another dimension. It's just there's a room back there. Well, well, well. Look what we have here. Walter? His body is tangled up in some kind of pipe. Should I investigate? Yes, let's investigate Walter's body. There's something in his coat. Yes. Should I look in his coat pocket? Yes. We got the keys of liberation. Extremely evil-looking keys held by the corpse of Walter. Okay, so we have finally found the real Walter Sullivan. His body was in our apartment the whole time. You can see the numbers on his feet. 11 out of 21. Also, there's some kind of strange black fluid in the depression. Strange fluid. Is this the real Walter Sullivan? It smells terrible. I mean, this body's been here for a long time. I guess he's been here from way before when I moved in. Yeah, this would have been before Joseph moved in as well, I think. Also, that's Walter. Also, I want to mention that this game was made in the early 2000s. And here is a late 90s photo of WWE superstar Edge for no particular reason. Anyway, I always refer to Walter as Edge the first time I played through this game. What's this in the refrigerator? Bags of blood and things like that. What the hell was Walter doing in here? Got like a fancy hacksaw. A mortar and pestle. There's some kind of residue in it. It's filled with white oil. Walter must have used this here. A bowl made from obsidian. This must be the cult's Bible. So, something to note is that the obsidian goblet and the bottle of white fluid were things from Silent Hill 2. If you were trying to get the ending where James was going to try to resurrect Mary. So these things are getting brought back for this game. That might be everything we can look at. Yeah, I think so. Well, anyway. This is where Walter's body has been the whole time. I don't know what's with the feathers. He's like on a crucifix with feathers. Also, this room, this has been part of Henry's apartment the whole time. He could have been using this space the entire 2 years he's been living here. He didn't even know. I'm just saying that maybe if Henry was a little more sociable, maybe if he had went into his neighbor's apartments, he would have noticed that they have a back room, and he didn't. Maybe he would have noticed that. So we got these keys, and before we use them, I just want to point something out. I'm going to put these keys in the box, just because when we do that, we can get a better look at what the keys look like. Do these look like extremely evil-looking keys? I don't know. They just kind of look like normal keys. I'm not seeing what's so extremely evil-looking about them. Well, anyway. What do these keys open? Well, now we know how someone set up these locks from the inside, because that someone is still in here. We use the keys of liberation.
Eileen?
Oh no. Well, we were able to open the door, but it's all meaty out here.
No, it looks like some kind of nightmare.
Yeah, the walls look like ground beef. It's raw ground wriggling beef. Also, there are like cages around here now. All right, well, welcome to the last level of Silent Hill 4 The Room. Now it's Silent Hill 4 the entire apartment building, as we got out of the room, but it turns out that was all for naught because, hey, it's not any good out here either. What are we doing? Well, we just have to remember what Joseph told us. We have to kill, 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 kill. Yeah, this was the apartment of the guy who liked porn, wasn't it? Pretty sure. Take the Saint Medallion? I will. There's a friend down there. You can just wait for him to come up. Hello. It's broken. It's kind of hard to see. You know, maybe we should just go back up so we can actually see. No, Eileen, this way, Eileen. No, you're gonna stay there, Eileen? Maybe you should come back up here. This is just a really bad place to be, Eileen. Oh yeah, he gave us the headbutt. Just back. Let's just like unequip your weapon and back it up. Oh, Eileen has taken some damage. She is limping now. We have not seen limping Eileen as of yet. Here's a health drink. Let's take it. I don't think there's anything here. But I think there is someone over there. Kind of hard to see, but behind those cage bars, I believe, is Walter. And he's aiming guns at us. Yeah, okay, but he got in the door before he could shoot us. But he was laughing. Here is the artist's apartment. There is a hole in the wall now. So we're revisiting the apartments that we had visited previously. Oh, and there's a sword. Let's pick up a sword. Well, we did sword all of the named ghosts, the boss ghosts, so we will not be seeing them. But if we hadn't, they would be showing up here. We would have to escape them in this level. Anything down here? Here's that bloody shirt. Don't believe there's anything here in this kitchen. Looks like Walter left for somewhere else because he's not here. No, there he is. There's another nutrition drink. We'll just take that. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Let's not walk past him, because if he does, he just shoots us instantly. And I don't think there's anything else in the room. So that's fine. Time for a nurse party. Well, they're not nurses. So much nursing happening here that there's bunches of slowdown. The PS2 can't handle all this burping. If all of the nurses get over here before you kill any of them, it is a problem. But we're doing it. We're getting them. Let's see. We could go through this door right here. But let's keep going this way. Because we can go to this stairwell and go back up to the 3rd floor. There's some bullets, but it's not like we use the gun anyway. Eileen, there you are. there's a wallman. All of the old favorites coming back one more time. And of course, we will take... Oh. We will take a health drink. Oh, there...
Oh no! I can't get out of here?
And it hasn't been looking so good so far, Eileen. All right, now the reason I wanted to come back up to the third floor is because we could actually go into Eileen's apartment. We've only been able to do that once, and it was a cutscene. We were not able to explore her apartment, but now we can. And now we can see the trail of blood that leads to where she was attacked. Hey, Eileen, that body shape is you. Oh, hold on. There we go. All right, what can we find in here? Well, we can stomp again. We can take these revolver bullets. Now, an important thing to know is that if you were playing this game on a New Game Plus, there would be something else right here on this chair. It would be a nurse's outfit. And if you take the nurse's outfit and you have it in your inventory when you win the game, and assuming that things turn out well for Eileen during the last boss fight, you will unlock Eileen's new costume, a nurse costume. Isn't that good? Of course, we will be seeing that in our second playthrough. But, you know, there was something I found disappointing about this apartment. All these doors, can't go in them. Why is that disappointing? Well, let's go to the map. If we look at the room that we're in right now, the room I'm facing, that should be the room where the other side of the peephole is. We can't go in there. And I was hoping we could go in there and look through the peephole back into our room. You can't do that, I guess. You know, I would have figured... You see that, Eileen? That's the room that the peephole is in. I've been peeping on you. You know, for horror-related reasons. I was hoping we could peep back into our room. You'd think you would be able to do that. Like there would be some, I don't know, some build-up. Is this Eileen's blood? Eileen, I'll be examining this. You'd think that there would be some, you know, conclusion to the whole peephole thing. I just think that seems like an obvious idea. That you should be able to find the other side of it. But no, I guess you can't do that. So going back up to the third floor for Eileen's room is optional. You don't have to do that. You could just, after defeating the burping nurses, you could just head into here, the other half of the second floor. Eileen. This is the guy who he has all the video games, right? This is his room? I believe so. And dumbbells. He plays games and he works out. What a man. Take this. Get him. Did he run down the hallway? I guess he must have. Where else could he have gone? Get back here, Walter. I found your real body. There he is. All right. You know what's coming. Is there anything else in this room? There's like a baby in that. I guess we're not going to comment on it. All right, this is the apartment that has all the kids' toys. I'll take a holy candle. Sure. I'll use it. Well, we'll see if I need to use it on a haunting or if I'll use it on Eileen. People did mention... Oh, she tripped on Walter. People did mention that whether or not healing Eileen helps you during the final battle is very questionable. Here's Richard's room with his bondage chair. Like, maybe you could heal Eileen with the candle, but it doesn't seem like it actually helps during the final battle. We will see. We will see. That has happened to me where Eileen took a lot of damage during a playthrough, then I healed her with candles, but during the final battle she was still hurt and I was confused by that. So I don't know actually what's actually going on in the code. What's happening with these numbers. Yep, come on. Come on. We hear little Walter calling in the distance for Dad. Why can't he see Dad's face? This was the room of the audiophile with his big speakers. Take that nutrition drink. Actually, I'm just about out of space. There we go. And I will definitely take the first aid kit. Should I call up the boyfriend on the phone again? No, you can't do that the second time round. And here's an ampule. But I'm running out of space. Well, I'll use a health drink to top up. And of course I'm going to take this ampule. Of course I am. And the next room is Frank's. Superintendent's room. But this room is chained up from the outside. There are 6 chains in the way. I can't open this door. How do we unchain it? in the lobby, we find a sketchbook. Walter's father? Well, it may say that. It says Papa, but the face is all scribbled out. And at this point, something strange happens. Eileen stops walking. She just kind of stays here. Well, if she's fine, we'll go off. You have to explore the rest of this hotel anyway. And there are no monsters in that room, so she'll be fine. There's Wallman. There's also a med kit over there, but I am out of space in my inventory. Well, if I need more health items, I can always come back. But we find something more important than health items. We find a body. And that looks like Walter's hair. Let's interact with it.
I told you we shouldn't have a baby, didn't I?
And it vanishes. So these are Walter's earliest memories. There are 6 of them. And every time we find one of the 6 chains falls away from Frank's door.
Oh, shut the hell up. You can't blame it all on me.
Yeah? Ambush just as we come into the room. Well, let's just talk to him. Yeah, let's get out of here. There's a health drink. Oh, there's a ghost. Well, I do have a sword, and I believe this is the only ghost in this level if you sorted all of the named ghosts. And we could always top up on health. Hello, Walter.
That super hears and we're in trouble. There's something about that guy. I just don't like the look of him.
What, Frank? I don't know. He seems like he's all right. And the gun enthusiast's apartment, who has tons of fake guns. Idolizes Richard because Richard actually has a real gun.
Hurry up. Get packed.
So, you're basically getting the idea of what these memories of Walter's dad, well, the memories Walter has of his dad, what they entail. One more to go.
Little crybaby.
So the only memories Walter has of his dad were right after he was born in the apartment. His dad just decided, no, we're not going to have a child. Just leave him here in the apartment and we are leaving. And then Frank ended up finding the child. I think that was all 6. And that's why Walter can't remember the face of his father, because barely remembers anything aside from that.
Eileen?
It's terrible. That poor little boy. His parents just threw him away right after he was born. Poor thing. He really thinks that room 302 is his mother. I've gotta help him.
All right, well, Eileen would like to help him, but how? I mean, Walter's dead. And that does include the child, so how are we going to help him out? Well, she's traveling with us now, but she's determined to find some way to help young Walter. So, let's see. I believe that we did get all 6 memories. Yeah. Now, all of the chains are gone from Frank's room. You remember what's in Frank's room? There's a box that smells really bad. Before we open that, I'm going to use this candle on Eileen. Just stand right there. Feeling better? If there was physical damage aside from, all this, it would fade away as she stands next to the candle, and her posture would straighten. She hasn't taken... Well, she's taken enough damage that she has a limp, but she really didn't start to get the real noticeable damage. Like, she can start to look way, way more messed up than this. But by using this candle, we'll just, top her up. Because this is the end of the escort mission of Henry and Eileen's time together, double teaming ghosts. We'll remember the good times that they had together. But it's time for this to become a single-player game. As the candle burns down. Alright, that's probably enough. Let's open this box.
Henry? Are you okay? It's Walter. He's crying. Even finishing the 21 sacraments won't help that boy. I'm going back, Henry. To the room where he is. We're the only ones. The only ones that can stop him.
Doo-doo. We got the umbilical cord. Walter Sullivan's umbilical cord. The superintendent has kept it for years. For some reason, we have it. And Eileen says she's going to go off to the room where Walter is, which would be our room. Gone off on her own. Let's take a look at the rest of Frank's apartment. Well, there is a health drink, but we're all full up. Let's head back to our room 2. Not the room 2. There is no the room 2. I mean our room also. You know, there's always rumors that new Silent Hill games are going to be made. Imagine if one was, and it was actually announced as The Room 2. The emotions would be so mixed. This woman, is it Eileen? It looks like Eileen, especially the giant spiked ball that makes up her torso. Well, let's head back to our room. We can hear the bell ringing, summoning us back to the room. Someone pointing at us over there. Well, we'll have to go back through there. You know, you may notice we have not, like, taken a pit stop in the room during this game. Sorry, this level. And that's because we would have to... Oh, not here. We would have to go all the way back to our door. Like, there's no shortcut there. So we're heading back the way we came. Also, I don't think Walter is going to be here to ambush us because Walter's doing something. Oh, hello. We got a party going on here. It's a party and everyone's invited. More friends trying to block us from getting to the room. And there's little Walter banging on that door as he does. Sorry, out of the way, kid. Any final hauntings? Nope, it's quiet. So, time for our final save. Return from outside room 302. Let's get prepared. Well, we don't need our nightstick anymore. We do need the umbilical cord. I don't need the Saint Medallion. I do want the revolver bullets. I don't want the broken 7-iron. I do want the axe. Hold on, I'm gonna put everything away except the ampoule. That's the best healing item. Let's take that with us. Now, there is a weapon we haven't used yet. It's Richard's revolver. Why don't we take that? And here's his ammo. Now, I want to have 3 free slots. Is that 3? Yeah. Alright. Melee weapon, revolver bullets, healing item, and umbilical cord, and 3 empty slots. A lot of people use the Pickaxe of Despair for the final boss. I really don't like using it. It's so slow. But, I mean, if you're trying to do it the fastest possible way, that does do the most damage. But okay, what are we doing? We got the umbilical cord, but we don't really have any direction, do we? What are we doing? Well, to figure it out, we're going to have to look at some files that we've been picking up. See, not this one. Holy Assumption. Okay, yeah. Here's some important points. Eileen is the mother's body and blood. Part of the mother's flesh equal the super's room. Okay, part of the mother's flesh was in the super's room, and that is the umbilical cord. We have the umbilical cord. We don't need his article. That was earlier in the game. Okay. If thou would stop the descent of the devil, you must bury part of the conjurer's mother's flesh within the conjurer's true body. All right, we have part of the mother's flesh, the umbilical cord. We have to bury it into the true body. And then pierce the body with the 8 spears. That's what we have to do. Now, if we found Walter's true body, it's not actually the body that we use the umbilical cord on. We'll find it. We'll see it because Walter's body is not here. See, it's gone. Walter's body is gone. Where could it be? Eileen couldn't have eaten it. I bet that's what happened. But actually down here in depression. Wait a minute. This is no normal depression. This is a screenshot that I think could get a lot of use. This is no normal depression right here. When I stare into it, I feel like I could be sucked in. It's like it's connected to some other dimension. Or maybe it's like a hole that, once you enter, you can never leave. Will you go in? Yes. What a red place. Does not seem like we can interact with any of the silhouettes on the walls. But this is only a temporary place on our way to the ultimate destination. Enter the hole for the final time. Yes.
Hey there, little Walter. Just a little longer now. Henry, you're it. The last of the 21 sacraments. The final sign. The receiver of wisdom.
All right, I'm going to have to pause this because there's kind of a lot to explain and a time limit to do it in. Okay, Eileen is walking towards the engine from Event Horizon in the center of the room. The reason for this is that Eileen has been fully possessed by Walter. I guess it happened off screen. The time limit is how long it takes Eileen to walk into the middle and get killed by that thing. The more damage she has taken over the course of the game, the faster she walks. So, if she has taken maximum damage, I'm pretty sure it's impossible to defeat Walter before she dies. You have to have taken care of her throughout the game for her to walk slower and thus make it possible to win before she walks into the thing. But how do we defeat Walter? Well, right now Walter is invincible. So, you remember the bit about putting the mother's flesh into the true body of the conjurer? All right, you saw like giant melting white torso during the cutscene. That's apparently the true body. So we have to put the umbilical cord into it, and that's what we're doing now. Let me select there we go. I've selected it. No, use it here. There we go. Okay. I like that sound effect is still going. It's a pleasant sound effect. Now that we've done that, 8 spears have appeared in the room. You might remember that the note said to us, pierce the body of the conjurer with the 8 spears. That's why I wanted to have 3 empty slots in the inventory. Now that I used the umbilical cord, I now have 4 empty slots in my inventory, which will let me get 4 spears on this side of the room. Spear with Holy Mother carved into it. The Crimson Tome says I have to stick 8 of these spears into Walter's body. Walter's having a good old time. He can, like, warp across the room. Hi, Eileen. She looks like she's taking her time. I think she is. Alright, let's put these spears in that body. 1. 2. 3. 4. Now let's get the 4 from this side of the room. And the camera will cut back to Eileen as she's walking forward like that. So there we go. I'm nowhere near you, Walter. Why did you go for the melee swing? 5. 6. 7. 8. All right, now Walter, when he gets up, will be vulnerable. But he does have a lot of health. The hero and villain locked in epic combat of standing in front of each other and shooting guns. Okay, I'm out of bullets. Put my axe. Use my ampoule. That's it. It is still a pretty anxious fight.
guess I'll have to find a new place to live, huh?
There deep in the forest night, children dance the waltz, they laugh, whispering hand in hand, just like children like to do. Their eyes, what are they looking for? White dress flutters the beat, their song starting to make some sense. Only if you're listening. Dance, dance like butterflies. Shadows appear right before my eyes. Sound echo the absurd. Hard to explain something that I heard. Now, with the forest talking insects and birds, does the scent of soil and peace breathe the life into the animal you hide? It's a great illusion one never knows. When you think you're really alone, feel the eyes of someone looking on you.
And that was the best ending of Silent Hill for The Room. Walter was defeated, his influence was cleansed from the apartment building, and Eileen lived. It's not much of an ending. It's just you see that Henry and Eileen are both alive, and Eileen says, I guess I need to find a new place to live. It's, as far as endings go, it's, could be that. That's the best ending. So we played it on normal. This playthrough was 7 hours, 32 minutes, 13 saves, 2 continues, 346 enemies, all memos collected, 52 out of 52 memos. We are fully educated. Now you are the receiver of wisdom. You have received all of it. The ending we got, the best one, is called Escape. Now, like I said, it's a pretty tense fight, and there's absolutely no way you're going to save Eileen the first time you do it. Like you go in there unprepared. There's no way you're doing it. You might defeat Walter, but you will not do it in time. You have to know what you're doing to actually complete it within the time limit. And then, of course, if Eileen was hurt a lot, throughout the course of the game, maybe it's just impossible to beat Walter in time. I like this like little relaxing music here in the results screen. And of course, the best part about the ending was the credits song, Cradle of Forest, vocalized by Joe Ramersa, who did Hometown in Silent Hill 3. We all love him. We all love those songs. Unfortunately, I don't think he did another one after this, did he? Like, he did the cradle songs, the credit songs for 3 and 4, but I don't remember him doing more after that. I might be wrong about that, but these are the ones that stand out to me. So, at the end of the game, it does let you save. Level normal, clear ending, Eileen's death. Number of saves, 10. Actually, no. That was another playthrough. And, not surprising, Eileen can die during that playthrough. The one we just did is escape. So, if you keep doing New Game Pluses with the same file, you can get all 4 endings on one save file. Does anything happen if you do that? I wonder. Possibly. But what we could take a look at before we put the PS2 to bed, we got 1 ending. We could get 2. We could get a second ending. What happens if we're just really bad at the Walter fight? Getting the best ending means that we saved Walter and we cleanse enough of the hauntings from the apartment. Well, if I load up that last save before the last boss fight, we will have cleansed enough hauntings. But of course, we don't have to save Eileen. Did I save Walter? There is no way to save Walter. You might have noticed that the child Walter died at the end there. Oh, that was my original save file when I first got this game. That's where I stopped. Return from Subway World. I didn't want to continue. Yeah, let's load this one up. Right, so adult Walter and child Walter are the same person. So if we killed adult Walter, well, the same fate was going to happen to child Walter. Since I'm going to have to last longer against Walt, because we're going to have to wait for Eileen to die, why don't I just stuff some more healing items in here? I'll probably need them. You could probably, if you were crass, if you were someone that has a mind of filth, you might say that now Henry has gone through all 3 of Walter's mom's holes, and shame on you for even thinking that. You have to leave right now if you were thinking that. I don't even want to know you. God. This is a wholesome stream, and you're bringing your filth into this. Walter doesn't talk much, does he? Like, he has 3 scenes in the game where he talks. Like, when we spoke to him on the stairwell. No, not that. Not right here. We spoke to him on the stairwell when he gave us the doll. He spoke to child Walter in their first meeting. And he spoke to Henry in this last boss fight. He doesn't talk much. All right, what do you say I just mosey? I take my time and just take 1 spear at a time. You don't need more than 1 at a time. It's fine. We'll just saunter on over. Ow. Walter has a weird spinning attack. I have no idea what that animation is supposed to be, where he spins around with his like his staff or like whatever that is. I always thought it was like kind of an axe handle without an axe head on it, but I don't know. He does it if you get close to him. Eileen? Yeah, she's moving. She's a-moving. Just having a little trot over to the Conjurer's true flesh. Well, Eileen's getting to the stairs. It's 7. Yep. Heading on down. You can do it, Eileen. And that's 8. Eileen still hasn't gotten there yet. She's starting to walk into the blood. Oh, there it is. There's a little spin attack. What is that? Oh, she's getting in there. She's getting in the blood. That's it for bullets. I guess a little spinny. Just wait a sec. Eileen, I'm getting shot here. There it is. It's doing a little spinny. Like, we go flying when he hits us with the spinny. Walter's being quite evasive this time around. Okay, I think we're backing him up into the corner here. No, okay, no, he's just he's running. There it is. Use my last ampoule, just so I'm at full health. Pity we can't stomp the nuts one more time, but hey.
Mom! Mom! Let me in! Mom!
And now the news. Yesterday in Ashfield and the woods near Silent Hill, the bodies of 5 men and women were discovered. The police reported that all the murders appeared to be the work of the same perpetrator. They are continuing their investigation. 4 of the victims were found dead at the scene, and the 5th victim, a Miss Eileen Galvin, was transported to St. Jerome's Hospital, where she died a short time later. Police say that Miss Galvin's injuries matched exactly those of the other victims.
Eileen.
And that's our second ending. So, oh, you can't skip the credits? I guess not on this version anyway. Alright, so I guess Walter was still stopped. He got a little bit closer to completing the 21 Sacraments because he managed to kill number 20. But number 21, Henry, was still alive, and also Henry had been cleansing the evil influence of Walter from the apartment. So I think Walter is defeated. I mean, we don't actually get to look at the door in that ending. We can't see if the chains are still there. But the apartment looks normal, so maybe Walter is truly dead, even though Eileen also died. So Walter seems to have been stopped in both endings. It's just whether or not Eileen manages to survive or not. And the child dies in both of these, of course. I guess that's a clue that there's going to be, like, if this was the first ending you got, then that's a clue that there's a different ending, because you'll want to try to beat Walter before Eileen dies. So Those are the two endings that we're seeing on the PS2 version. Depending on... So this was whether or not Eileen lived or died. And in both cases, we had enough... we cleansed enough hauntings. But of course, if you don't cleanse enough hauntings, you do get 2 other endings. How different are those endings from these 2? Well, there's only one way to find out, I suppose. So basically the progression of the game, of the story, if, you know, I'm sure you've been paying attention, you've been taking notes, you know how it goes, but the progression, as far as I know, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Walter's parents did it, and then the mother got pregnant. This was unplanned. She had the birth in the apartment. The dad was like, no way to this baby, and both of them left. Frank Sunderland, who was still the superintendent, presumably James would have been alive at this time, but James does not factor into this story. Frank Sunderland, who is still the superintendent, finds Walter as a baby left in the apartment, calls the police. Police pick him up. Frank, for whatever reason, feels the urge to keep the umbilical cord. Magic reasons? Maybe. The child Walter is given to the Silent Hill orphanage, which of course is run by the cult. So Walter is raised in the ways of the scriptures of the cult, and he is taught about the 21 sacraments, and apparently Dahlia tells him where he was born, the apartment, and tells him that he can be reunited with his mother if he performs the ritual of the 21 sacraments, I guess. At some point, Walter grows up, and, when he was a kid, he did visit the apartment multiple times, but he was chased away by Richard. Richard was still big jerk at that time. But Walter grows up. It said, one of the notes said that he was a normal student for a time, but then, at some point in his adult life, he decides that he's going to put this ritual of the 21 sacraments into practice. He studied it. He knows what to do. So he starts killing people in a very specific ritual, kills 10 people, is then arrested, and then kills himself in prison, becoming the 11th victim. Some years after that, more murders start to happen, and these people have numbers on them, just like with the first batch of murders. So victims 12, 13, and 14 were killed, and then Joseph Schreiber wants to investigate this. So he moves into Ashfield Heights, into room 302, is investigating the case, but as he investigates it, he ends up being targeted as victim number 15. However, Joseph was able to find out a lot about the case and wrote them down in his notes. Joseph is killed at the beginning of the game. Henry has a dream about this. Then, some time passes, and the murders start again. This time, now we're at the point where the game starts. Henry is trapped in his room, and then a hole appears in his bathroom, and Henry takes it to go to Subway World. So why does that hole appear? I believe Walter put it there because Henry's role is the receiver of wisdom, which I guess means that Henry needs to witness these murders. So that's why the hole is there, and that's why Henry is going to these places where people are going to die, because Walter wants him to. So Henry goes to Subway World and witnesses the death of number 16, Cynthia Velasquez. Henry goes to Forest World and witnesses the death of number 17, Jasper Geen. Henry goes to Water Prison World, witnesses the death of number 18, Andrew DeSalvo. Henry goes to Building World and witnesses the death of number 19, Richard Braintree. Then Henry goes to Apartment World and thinks he witnesses the death of number 20, Eileen Galvin. However, Eileen survived it, which wasn't according to plan. Apparently, the child Walter defends Eileen against adult Walter, which is why Eileen thanks the kid and why Eileen survived. This was not what adult Walter intended. After this, the hole in Henry's bathroom gets plugged up. Sealed off. Henry can't go anywhere. Why is this? Because Walter does not need Henry to witness any more murders, so he wants him to stay in that room until Walter's ready to kill him. But something else not according to Walter's plan, happens. And that is that Joseph, dead Joseph, has been helping Henry by giving him notes, feeding him information about what's been going on, with those red pages stuck under his door. And Henry also gives him the succubus card that allows Henry to open up another hole, this time in his closet. So this is an unplanned hole. Walter did not intend for Henry to have this hole. Henry goes into the hole and is able to find Eileen and is able to take her out of the hospital world. Presumably, if Henry had not gone to hospital world, Walter would have killed Eileen at that point. But Henry goes there, gets Eileen, and both of them start going down the stairwell to get to the bottom of Walter Sullivan. At this point, Walter starts chasing after them. That's why Walter appears in person and starts trying to kill you at that point, because this is not supposed to be happening. This is not according to plan. Walter's like, oh no, that she's supposed to be dead and he's supposed to be trapped in his room. Neither of those things happened. So he's now running after you, trying to kill him. And then, of course, we stomp his balls. Repeatedly. Eventually, Henry and Eileen get to the bottom of Walter and find Joseph, who gives him the straight skinny on what's been happening with Walter and his mom apartment, and gives us the pickaxe. Henry uses the pickaxe to find Walter's body, which Walter's spirit, I guess, dug up his physical corpse at some point and put it into room 302 and sealed it away behind a wall. So Henry finds this, uses the keys to get out of his room. Then Henry and Eileen find the umbilical cord in Frank's apartment, and then Eileen walks away, Henry goes back to his room, and then Henry faces Walter in the final battle, and due to the knowledge that he got from Joseph, that he and the Crimson Tome, he knows he has to put the umbilical cord into the giant body and then stab it with spears and then kill Walter, and that's the story of Silent Hill 4, The Room. It's certainly, some people at the beginning of this game watching this said this game has no story. Oh no. It has a lot of story. It has so much story. It's just you don't get to it until the end. Now, you might wonder, what's the canon ending? Did Henry and Eileen survive? Well, who knows? It's not like there was a direct sequel to this game, so who knows? I don't know if there actually is supposed to be a canon ending to Silent Hill 4: The Room, but there doesn't have to be. The only game that had to have a canon ending was 1, because 3 was a direct sequel. But I believe, well, there's also 2. I believe there is some extended material which says that Frank never saw James again, which implies that maybe James never left Silent Hill. So if that's the case, then In Water would have been the canon ending where James kills himself. But I mean, who can say if that's the case? But 4, I don't know if there's any reason to think that any of these, which ending is canon. But as far as the other endings go, well, now we know what endings 1 or 2 are like. Both the endings where Walter is defeated. But what happens if Walter wins? That's what we would find out if we didn't cleanse those hauntings. Because by cleansing the hauntings, we were exorcising Walter's influence from the room. But what if it didn't, and the room was still full of Walter's evil? Well, that's what we're going to find out, because we're playing the PC version, just to see what that's like. Because if you wanted to get Silent Hill 4 these days, the easiest way to get it is the PC version off of GOG. So we'll take a look at that and see how it compares to the original PS2 version. It's good in some ways and not as good in other ways. So, we'll see what that's like. In this second run, we're going to be going through it as fast as we can, which is much faster than this run was. And we are also not going to cleanse any hauntings. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when things go real bad, because things could go so much worse than what you saw here. This game can get so much worse than the way this run did. And we will see how bad that gets when we play through the game for a second time to get endings 3 and 4, and maybe also see some new costumes. There might be some new costumes. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this first run. This was a slow. You know how it goes. This is a slow play. You know there are speed runs. This is a slow run. Just to saunter, to take our time, and to see everything. Now that we've done that, we can see how different it is if you're actually playing the game for real. And see how that goes. Which is basically Henry sprinting throughout the entire game, because you don't really have to fight anyone. You don't really have to, except a few parts. So we'll be seeing Henry just sprinting his ass off through all these levels in the second run. And we will get the final parts of the story, the final 2 endings of Silent Hill 4: The Room, as we continue with Silent Hill 4: The Room. That's a terrible sentence. Sometimes I have trouble ending sentences, but to say we're going to see the rest of Silent Hill 4: The Room when we continue with Silent Hill 4: The Room is just a bad sentence. That needs to be rethought. That's what that does. The ending we got was Eileen's death. We got 6.6 stars. The haunted score. I'll see you next time for Silent Hill 4: The Room.